The Galactic Academy was the pride of the universe, a place where the most gifted beings from thousands of species came to train, compete, and rise into command. Its massive arena, built from silver stone and shining plasma shields, was the heart of every challenge. It was where strength was tested and where weakness was exposed. On that day, the stands were full. Voices from 100 worlds echoed together. The air shimmered with laughter, cruel and loud. At the center of the arena stood a young cadet, trembling slightly. Her name was Lyra of the Varnith, a four-eyed species known for intelligence, not combat. Her skin was a soft violet tone, her uniform slightly torn from training. She had just failed a duel simulation, and now the other cadets surrounded her like vultures. 4 eyes and still can't see the target. One shouted, his metallic voice full of mockery. Another joined in. Maybe she needs 2 more eyes to aim straight. The laughter grew. Lyra's hands tightened around her training spear, but she couldn't speak. Her throat burned with shame. She had come to the academy to prove herself, to show that even a quiet mind could become strong. But now all she could hear was laughter, her vision blurred. She blinked back tears, but that only made the crowd laugh harder. Then the laughter began to fade, not all at once, but slowly, like wind dying before a storm. Someone was walking toward the arena floor. He wasn't tall compared to the alien cadets, but there was something different about the way he moved. Calm, controlled. Every step made the air feel heavier. He wore a dark training suit, simple and marked with a faded human insignia. His right eye was covered by a metal patch that gleamed under the lights. His left eye, the only one visible, glowed faintly with reflection. Sharp, alert, and human. His name was Cade Mercer, a one-eyed human and one of the last Earthborn duel instructors in the academy. Lyra turned, startled. She had seen him before, always silent, always alone. Some said he had lost his eye in a war long forgotten. Others said he had removed it himself, to remind him of something humans refused to forget. Survival. Cade stepped into the circle. His voice was calm but carried like thunder. Enough, he said. The nearest alien, a tall reptilian cadet, sneered. This is our test, human. Not yours, Cade didn't answer. He only looked at Lyra. Pick up your weapon. Lyra hesitated. Sir, they're laughing at me. I know, Cade said. And do you know why? She shook her head. Because you remind them of what they fear, an imperfection. She blinked in confusion. Fear? They're stronger than me. Cade's single eye narrowed. Strength without struggle is weakness. They don't understand what it means to fight when everything's against you. Humans learned it long ago. That's why we still stand. The crowd began to whisper. He's lecturing again, one muttered. Old Earth nonsense, said another, but Cade ignored them. He reached behind his back and unhooked something long and curved, a blade sheathed in dark alloy. It wasn't modern. It was old, forged from folded titanium and engraved with Earth's fading language. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The human is drawing a weapon, someone shouted. Overhead, the announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. Attention! Interference from non-combatants is forbidden. Step away, human instructor Mercer. Cade didn't move. He slowly pulled the blade free. Its edge shimmered faintly with electric light, humming with old energy. The arena fell silent. Cade's one eye scanned the circle, calm but unyielding. Then, in a voice steady as stone, he said, Who wants to be first? For a moment, no one breathed. Then the laughter returned, but weaker this time, forced. You're a relic, human, someone shouted. You think your ancient metal can stand against plasma blades? Cade didn't answer. He simply tilted his head, waiting. Lyra could feel the tension thick in the air. The crowd that had mocked her now turned their attention to him, to the one-eyed man who dared to challenge them all. A massive insectoid cadet stepped forward, clicking his mandibles. I'll teach this human respect, he hissed. His exoskeleton glistened under the arena lights. Cade's expression didn't change. He adjusted his grip on the hilt, the insectoid charged, twin energy claws flashing. The ground shook beneath his steps. Lyra gasped, but Cade moved like wind. One step to the side, a turn of his wrist, and a flash of silver cut through the air. The crowd blinked. For a heartbeat, no one understood what had happened. Then, with a sharp crack, one of the insectoid's claws split cleanly down the middle. Not broken, but sliced perfectly. The alien froze, staring at the precise line cut through his weapon. Cade lowered his blade. "You're fast," he said evenly. "But speed without focus is noise." The insectoid's wings trembled with anger. "You didn't even harm me." "Exactly," Cade replied. "If I had wanted to, I would have." The alien stepped back in silence. The crowd was quiet now. Every whisper had vanished. Cade turned to the others. "Anyone else?" No one answered. The silence felt heavy, almost sacred. Even the announcer didn't speak. Lyra stared at him, eyes wide. "Why did you help me?" Cade looked at her, his face unreadable. "Because you stood alone when they laughed. That's when a warrior is truly born. Not in victory, but in the moment everyone doubts you and you still refuse to fall." She swallowed, her 4 eyes blinking slowly. "But I failed," he shook his head. "No, you just haven't learned yet. Failure is how humans learned everything. The stars never gave us power. We took it one scar at a time." The arena lights dimmed slightly as the system recalibrated. Cade turned away, his step steady, the old sword still at his side. The cadets moved aside, silent, as he walked past. No one dared to mock him now. Some watched with awe, others with confusion, but all of them felt something unfamiliar: respect. Lyra stood there, her heart pounding. The same crowd that had mocked her now looked unsure, uneasy. They had just witnessed something they didn't understand. Not power, not technology, but will. She picked up her training spear and looked at it differently this time. The weapon hadn't changed, but she had. As she left the arena, she saw Cade waiting by the exit. He turned his head slightly toward her. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "you'll train with me." "Train?" she asked, surprised. "You have 4 eyes," he said with a faint smile. "That means you can see twice as much as I can. Let's see if you can learn to see what really matters." Before she could respond, he was gone, walking down the corridor, his blade glinting under the cold light. Behind them, the arena remained silent, not with fear, but with the strange echo of something that had been missing for a long time in the Galactic Academy: human courage. The next morning, the Galactic Academy was silent. Word of what happened in the arena had spread to every hall, every dorm, and every training bay. Students whispered about the one-eyed human who had challenged the whole crowd. Some said he broke a dozen rules. Some said he couldn't be touched in battle. And some said that when he looked at you with his one eye, you could feel your weakness. No one knew what to believe, except Lyra of the Varneth. She woke early, her mind still replaying the moment when Cade Mercer had sliced the insectoid's claw weapon in a single perfect motion. The sound of it, sharp, clear, final, stayed with her. When she arrived at the training hall, Cade was already there. He stood in the center of the empty room, blade resting at his side, eye closed in quiet focus. "You came," he said without turning. "Yes," Lyra said softly. "I said I would." He nodded once. "Then we begin." For hours, Cade trained her in silence. He didn't shout or scold. His movements were slow and exact. Every step, every turn, every swing had purpose, balance, he said. That's where every battle starts. The body must be calm before the strike. Lyra tried to copy his movements but stumbled. He stopped her each time with patience. "You think too much," he told her. "You're fighting with your mind. You need to fight with your sense." "My sense?" she asked. "Yes," he said, touching his eye patch. "Even when one eye is gone, you can still see everything if you feel it. That's what humans learned. To see through the noise, to fight through the fear." His words echoed in her head. For the first time, Lyra stopped doubting herself. She breathed slowly and tried again. This time, her spear moved smoothly through the air. Cade smiled faintly. Better. As the days passed, word spread again, this time about Cade's student, the 4-eyed Varneth girl who trained with the one-eyed human. Some mocked, but others watched with curiosity. Then one afternoon, the academy bell rang with urgency. A message flashed across every holoscreen. Arena challenge, human instructor Cade Mercer versus Commander Turok of the Velkan Guard. Gasps filled the halls. Commander Turok was not a cadet. He was a war veteran, 8 feet tall, from a species bred for battle. No one had ever defeated him in public combat. The reason for the challenge soon became clear. The High Council wanted to punish Cade for his disobedience in the arena. They couldn't remove him quietly, so they decided to break his honor in front of everyone. Lyra found Cade in the locker bay, sharpening his blade. "They want to disgrace you," she said. He looked at her calmly. "Then I'll give them a lesson instead. You'll face Commander Turok," she warned. "He's a killer." Cade's tone didn't change. "So were humans once. But we learned when to stop." Lyra hesitated. "You don't have to do this." He finally looked up at her. "Yes, I do. Because every student who saw me yesterday will remember this fight. And they'll decide what kind of courage they believe in." The arena that evening was packed beyond limit. Thousands of cadets filled the stands, and even senior officers attended. Above them, the holographic screens displayed the match title in glowing red letters: Disciplinary Duel, Human versus Velkan. Turok entered first, armored in silver plates, holding a plasma axe that glowed bright orange. His deep voice echoed through the hall. "I'll end this farce quickly," he growled. "A human should know his place." Then came Cade. No armor, no shield, only his old titanium blade. His steps were silent, but the arena felt heavier with every move he made. When he reached the center, Turok laughed. "That toy won't save you." Cade's single eye locked on him. "It's not the blade that matters. It's the one who holds it," the crowd murmured at the calmness in his voice. The announcer raised his hand. "Begin!" The duel exploded into motion. Turok charged first, swinging his plasma axe in a burning arc. The ground cracked beneath his strike, but Cade had already moved. He slid aside, the motion smooth like water. His blade flashed, barely visible, tapping against Turok's armor with a metallic ring. Turok snarled and attacked again, faster, stronger. But Cade didn't fight with strength. He fought with rhythm. Each time Turok swung, Cade turned the momentum against him, striking small, perfect points. The joints, the vents, the gaps. Within minutes, Turok's heavy armor had several precise cuts. Nothing fatal, just humiliating. "You mock me," the Velkan roared, swinging wildly. Cade stepped back, letting the blade hum softly in his hand. "No, I'm teaching you control." The crowd began to shift. Whispers filled the air. For the first time, they weren't cheering for Turok. They were watching Cade with awe. Turok's rage grew. He activated both sides of his plasma axe, turning it into a glowing storm. "Let's end this!" he shouted, rushing forward, but Cade waited, calm as stone. At the last second, he sidestepped and swung upward. His blade moved so fast that the eye could barely follow. The sound it made was clean, a sharp note like crystal breaking. The next moment, Turok's plasma axe fell to the ground, sliced neatly in half. The crowd gasped. Silence filled the arena. Cade stood still, blade lowered. "You've lost," he said quietly. Turok, breathing heavily, looked down at his broken weapon. He stepped back, confused. "How?" Cade raised his eye. "Because you were trying to win. I was only trying to learn. That's what makes us different." The silence that followed felt endless. Then from somewhere high in the stands, a slow clap began. It was Lyra. Others joined. Then hundreds, then thousands. The sound rolled across the arena like thunder. The High Council members shifted uncomfortably, but it was too late. The crowd had already chosen its hero. Later that night, Cade and Lyra stood at the edge of the Academy's observation deck, staring out into the stars. "You changed everything today," Lyra said quietly. Cade shook his head. "No. I reminded them what humans already knew, that fear and respect are born from the same thing. Truth." She smiled faintly. "You could have hurt them, but you didn't." He looked at her. "Power means nothing if you can't control it. Remember that, Lyra. The galaxy doesn't need more warriors. It needs those who fight for something." She nodded. "Then I'll fight for that." He smiled for the first time. "Good. Then you'll do fine." A soft breeze moved across the deck. Below them, the Academy lights shimmered, and in the far distance the stars burned quietly. The same stars humans once reached with bare hands and boundless hope. Lyra looked up at the sky. "Cade, when they mocked me, I felt so small. But when you stood there, even with one eye, you looked stronger than all of them." Cade chuckled softly. "That's because strength doesn't come from what you see. It comes from what you believe." She turned to him. "And what do you believe in?" He looked out at the stars again, his voice calm and steady. "I believe humanity never stopped fighting. Not against enemies, but against doubt. That's what keeps us alive. That's what makes us human." Lyra nodded slowly. The wind carried his words away into the endless dark. Weeks later, hollow screens across the galactic core showed the same moment again and again. The image of a one-eyed human standing in silence, his blade lowered while a crowd of thousands stared in awe. The caption beneath the image read, "Who wants to be first?" That phrase became more than a challenge, it became a legend. From then on, every cadet, soldier, and commander in the academy remembered the lesson of the one-eyed human and his four-eyed student. Courage isn't born in perfection. It's born when the world laughs at you and you still rise.